Hornets, the hottest club in the NBA right now, with 5 consecutive wins over Orlando, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Indiana, and Milwaukee again. We're set for the starting lineups. Here's public address announcer Mike Walshewski.
Arena. Tonight's game features the Charlotte Hornets and the New York Knicks. Here tonight's starting lineup. First for Charlotte. And guard at 5'3" from Wake Forest, number 1, Muggsy Bogues. And guard at 6'5" from Illinois, number 13, Kendall Gill. And forward at 6'7" from UNLV, number 2, Larry Johnson. And forward at 6'7" from Pepperdine, number 24, Anthony Frederick. And at center at 6'8" from Old Dominion, number 44, Kenny Gaddis. The trainer is Terry Koffler. Assistant coaches Bill Hanslick, Matt Pratt, and T.R. Dunn. And the head coach, Alan Bristow. And now, please welcome your New York Knicks. At guard at 6'3" from St. John's, number 13, Mark Jackson. At guard at 6'6" from Tennessee, Chattanooga, number 21, Gerald Wilson. At forward at 6'6" from Wichita State, number 32, Xavier Samuel. At forward at 6'9" from Virginia Union, number 34, Charles Oakley. And at center at 17 from Georgetown, number 33, Patrick Ewing. The assistant traders, Tim Walsh, sixth trader, Mike Crocker. Assistant coaches, Dick Carter, Paul Silas, and Tim Van Gundy. And the head coach for the Knicks, Pat Riley.
New York Knicks, as you just saw, looking for win number 1,000 at home. Charlotte Hornets, meanwhile, looking to keep their streak alive. As I mentioned earlier, they are coached by Alan Bristow. And we asked Alan, what's been the difference as the Hornets have turned it around the last 13 ball games?
I felt good about our players, even when we were struggling early in the year. It's been a gradual thing. You could tell that once we got a couple of the first few months of the season over with, we had a nice little homestand we could practice. Not necessarily play games, but we had an opportunity to sort of work on some things and iron some things out and get our defense a little better.
Here's Alan Bristow, his first year as head coach. He was an assistant for 8 seasons in the NBA, and of course had a pretty good tenure as a player as well. Here's a look at the records of the ball club. Hornets still struggle on the road. They've won only 6. Knicks are 23-7 at the Garden. They have won 4 in a row at home. The officials are Mike Mathis, Bernie Fryer, and Woody Mayfeld.
When the Knicks and Hornets met earlier this season in December here in New York, it was a 2-point game. Rather, in Charlotte, 99-97. The Knicks won in November. Rather, that was in Charlotte. In November, it was a 5-point game. Daryl Wilkins opens things.
And a quick whistle, a violation on the jump. The basket does not count, and the Hornets will inbound from side court.
Point is, Bruce, in 2 games, 7 points have separated the Knicks and Hornets, and that's before, way before, this team got into stride.
So the Knicks have won over the Hornets 6 in a row, but as John mentioned, both games this year close. Knicks had to come from behind 17 points down in one of the games against the Hornets. Larry Johnson, first shot of the game, the rebound to Patrick Ewing.
Larry Johnson is an excellent jump shooter. You look at his body and you think he gets everything done inside, but he can take people out in the perimeter. That's why he's so tough.
Gerald Wilkins to Xavier McDaniel. Knicks coming off the win over the Los Angeles Clippers on Thursday. Ewing hit. Patrick Ewing has feasted on the Hornets over the years with 3 40-plus ball games. And they never really had a center to contend with him, John.
No, and the man tonight, Kenny Gaddis, is 6'8" tall.
And an off-balance jumper goes down by Kenny Gaddis over Ewing.
Charlotte coaching staff jumps up as Ewing goes down along with Gaddis, and they expected a foul call in their favor as well.
Charlotte is the smallest team in the NBA. Xavier McDaniel goes around the rim. Oakley and Ewing fight for it. And a little man, Muggsy Bogues, takes it away from Ewing. Bogues dishes to Gill. He puts it in. That's the count. And a foul is called on Xavier McDaniel.
What the Hornets want to do, Bruce, is run, run, run. And they want to drag the Knicks into that style of game where they think they're superior. Ewing now with a rebound loses it to the little guy, Muggsy Bogues. It's all he wants to do is push the ball. And he does with that look away to Kendall Gill, who makes a very difficult shot look easy.
Bogues only gives away 21 inches to Ewing. Gill converts on the three-point play, and the Hornets lead 5-2. And here's the pressure. They will throw lots of pressure all game long, especially Bogues on the ball handler. McDaniel with the fall away. And the X-Man, who has not been shy the last couple of ball games, he's taken 34 shots in the last two. That's something that Pat Riley wanted him to do, get more aggressive and not hesitate. Larry Johnson against Oakley.
Goes to clear out for Johnson. Double team, he gives it up, and he gets it back.
And a foul is called on Oakley for reaching over the back of Johnson. Jonathan, tough dilemma because Johnson can shoot from the outside, and he can also post up.
Super player. I asked the coach about him before the game. Alan Bristow said he has got no weaknesses that he's been able to find. And that includes defense.
Johnson with the fall away. Rebound to Ewing. And the Knicks will push it. Mark Jackson, 16 assists against the Los Angeles Clippers. Penetrates around Gill, goes to the basket. Rebound Ewing. And Gaddison finally clears. Good effort by Ewing. And it goes off of Gaddison, and we get a loose ball foul called on Gaddison. I asked Pat Riley, what will the Knicks do in terms of the running game, because Charlotte likes to run so much. He says, we also want to run, but must be patient and aware of shot selection.
Yes, if you get into a ragtag, up and down type game, you can lose all of your coherence out there.
Jackson with a pretty move. He's effective against small guys, and he backs Bogues in there. Bogues on the other end misses. Rebound Wilkins. 6-5 Knicks. 9:25 to go first quarter. Wilkins to a wide-open Jackson. So Jackson with back-to-back hoops.
That's an example of patience. The Knicks didn't force the play. They got a good shot off, good ball movement quickly.
Knicks on a 6-0 run. Frederick to Kendall Gill. And Gill is called for shuffling his feet. What a year Kendall Gill is having, and this his sophomore campaign in the NBA. And on the boards thus far, 7-0 Knicks.
Well, as you mentioned, playing against the shortest team in the NBA, that's likely to continue. Although I'm sure we can count the Hornets in for about 20 for the game.
Oakley hitting the jumper. And the Knicks now lead 10-5. 8 straight points for New York. Ewing all over Gaddison. Bogues to Kendall Gill. This is not where the Hornets excel in the half-court game. With Frederick and Gaddison, not really some good outside shooters there, John. McDaniel backs in. And the loose ball comes down to Larry Johnson. Johnson is fouled as he crosses the midcourt line. It's on McDaniel.
When Del Curry comes into the game, and he will be in shortly, their perimeter shooting potential jumps up, because that's what he is so good at, outside shooting.
The Hornets have not played since Wednesday. They won in Milwaukee, and in that game erased a 21-point deficit in the second half of play. They went on a 38-13 run, so this club is capable of scoring points in a hurry. Gill to Johnson. Shot clock down to 5. Johnson outside to Gill. And the rebound to Ewing. Jackson penetrates. And he throws it out of bounds. Kiki Vandeweghe checks into the lineup, replacing Xavier McDaniel. And it is not often that Vandeweghe reports with 7:32 to go in the first quarter.
That's a short amount of time for the X-Man, and Pat Riley showing very little patience.
Johnson's reverse move, tipped around, rebound to Ewing. McDaniel does have 2 fouls. Wilkins outside to Jackson. Ewing in the paint. He hits it. And the Knicks on a pretty good tear here. 12-5 they lead it. They've run off 10 straight. And a timeout, 20-second timeout called by the Hornets. Ewing in the ballgame thus far already with 7 rebounds. And now it's a full timeout taken by the Hornets. Knicks in front early. As you can see, the Knicks near the top, the Hornets near the bottom in terms of defense. Quite a differential there. Patrick Ewing thus far has come out impressively for the Knicks.
Many times Patrick Ewing is matched up against a shorter player, and you think he's going to have a 50-point game. More times than not, it doesn't happen. But tonight it has the looks of a very big game because no one can get up high enough to bother Patrick's vision.
Ewing against the Hornets over the years is at a 50-point game, a 45-point game, and a 41-point game. Johnson, he hits it. That is a big body when it's airborne. Wide.
Boy, next to Evander Holyfield, they would look like Mutt and Jeff, wouldn't it?
Very good comparison. Yeah. Oakley is wide open, and he hits it. 2 buckets for Oakley, and the Knicks lead it 14-7.
Reminds me, Bruce, have you heard of Mutt and Jeff?
Sure.
It might be going back a little too far.
No, I have that in my childhood. Folks, this is down low to Gaddison. Good D by Ewing. Gill is open. And a strong offensive board and putback by Frederick, but he misses it. And here come the next 2-on-1. Ewing against Bogue. And an overpass by Jackson. Maybe even an overpass by Ewing.
I like what Ewing did, though. He gave it up. He knew he was a little bit too far to get the stride, and he wanted to commit the offensive foul, which loomed ahead with the shorter man in front of him, but the Knicks mishandled that poorly.
Knocked out of bounds. Charlotte will keep possession. John, it would have been nice to see Ewing going to the basket against Bogue.
That's a deal where the big man usually loses because Bogue will draw the foul.
I think Ewing sensed that. But Patrick would have preferred a return pass from Jackson. Del Curry into the ball game for the Hornets. Johnson takes the baseline. No call. Oakley on the floor. Here's Vandeweghe in transition to Ewing. And Patrick running the floor impressively. 16-7 Knicks. Gill spots up and buries the jumper. And it's 16-9.
That's what the Knicks have to be cautious of, how well Charlotte pushes the ball up court after the Knicks score. Defensive transition is the Knicks' challenge tonight.
Jackson outside to Gerald Wilkins. Wilkins backing it on Kendall Gill.
Now that's defense by Gill.
Vandeweghe.
See Riley signaling to his team as soon as that ball went to the Knicks. Get back, get back.
Vandeweghe averaging 10.5 points over the last 10 games. And in the game early tonight. Del Curry, this is a small lineup for the Hornets. Curry plays small forward with Gill and Bogue in the backcourt. Bogue missing. Rebound Oakley.
Jackson did not fear Bogue, so that's why he double-teamed.
Jackson to Vandeweghe. He is wide open. It has been ghost defense thus far by the Hornets. Johnson dishes back to Gaddison. Rebound Vandeweghe. to 9, Knicks lead. 4:10 to go, first quarter of play.
Knicks leading on the boards now, 10-2.
Wilkins missing, gets his own rebound. Nobody near him. Ewing gets the ball. Patrick again. And this time he's more assertive. Ewing has run the floor marvelously this first quarter.
Well, he senses the kill, and he's going right to it. The Knicks seem to be playing much better defense as well. Their hands are more alert, and they're up tighter.
Del Curry missing, and Jackson running to Oakley. Both knocked it away. Here's Del Curry back to Murphy. Good kick to Gill.
Charles Oakley just getting up from the floor at the other end. Here Charles feels he can throw passes through people's bodies with his strength, but it doesn't work.
20-11, Knicks leading. 7 points for Gill. Ewing with 8 points and 8 rebounds thus far. Wilkins wide open. And the rebound to Kendall Gill. He leaves ahead to Gaddison. Look at Gaddison's showing.
The overweight bothered him enough to change his shot. He thought he'd have a layup.
This is wide open basketball. Jackson backing in on Bogues. Wilkins looks for 3. And the rebound to Bogues. The racehorse ball the other way we go to Del Curry. And a foul is called on Wilkins from behind.
Knicks left their backcourt totally exposed. They've got to be more careful.
So it is a loose first quarter of play. Knicks lead it 20-11, and on the boards, they have been dominant.
New York Knicks basketball is brought to you by Dutch Boy, the official paint sponsor of the NBA. Available at Home Depot.
Anthony Mason into the ball game, and he was very vocal about playing Larry Johnson tonight. If you're coming straight to the post, it's going to be an all-out war. The less the ball from Johnson's hands, the weaker Charlotte is, and Mason is ready to go to battle.
Well, as he was quoted today in the paper as saying he wants to make his man uncomfortable, and he feels he can do that by banging on him and being physical, throw him off stride, and this is a massive challenge for him against Larry Johnson.
Del Curry hitting a jumper. Del Curry maybe 1 for 2 at the line, but getting the rebound, a 3-point play. It's 20-14 Knicks. Mason loses the ball. It's knocked out of bounds by J.R. Reed, who reports for the first time for Charlotte. So the Hornets go with J.R. Reed, Johnson, Curry, Gill, and Bogues. Biggest player on the floor now for them is J.R. Reed at 6'9". Here's the shooting thus far. Knicks far better than the Hornets. Band away. Nice D.
Patrick Ewing right on target with his passing.
Ewing was playing like a forward in this first quarter.
He had 5 assists in their first meeting of the season. Patrick Ewing was passing the ball very well that night.
Lots of gaps in that Charlotte defense, by the way. Shot clock is down to 5. Gill fouled by Starks on the reach-in. And now Greg Anthony reports, replacing Mark Jackson. For the Knicks going with Starks and Anthony. Vandeweghe, Mason, and Ewing. A minute 50 to go in the first quarter. Kendall Gill at the free throw line. Now, Gill's had a lot of problems with his migraine headaches this year. He has missed some practices, missed one at the beginning of this week. As a matter of fact, in a game earlier this year, a shoot-around, John, against Golden State, he had to leave the shoot-around, went to the hospital, was there all day, got to the game, made 27 points. He is currently on medication for the headache, and it is under control somewhat, but they will evaluate it further as the year goes on. Here's Mason. He misses the layup and a rebound to Johnson.
Well, he didn't try a layup. He tried a slam dunk, which is all too tempting for Anthony. If he had extended his arm for the layup, he would have had a better shot.
J.R. Reed coming off the bench now for the Hornets, where he's been more effective. Out to Bogues. Nice pass, Gill to Curry. But he misses it, the rebound to Mason. Mason to start to Vandeweghe, who goes to the basket better with his left hand than he does with his right. One of the few right-handers that's true about. And the Knicks lead 24-16. You ever see him dunk lefty? Much more powerful. Bogues. Rebound Mason.
Very tough for Charlotte to get second shots without taller people out there.
Anthony to start. And he hits a two-pointer.
Starks has had a sensational run this year against Charlotte. He's averaged 20 a game in the last 2 meetings.
And that's a traveling violation against Bode. And now, in the ball game for Charlotte, Kevin Lynch. Muggsy Bogues gets a breather. Lynch is the rookie out of Minnesota with a second-round draft pick. One of the few second-rounders that survived.
Yes, most second-rounders don't survive, typically over the last couple of years.
Vandeweghe has a block. Mason gets it back. Almost an and one. Mason will go to the line for 2. Foul is on J.R. Reed. Now Charles Oakley is back in. He replaces Patrick Ewing. So, John, here's a night where the Knicks can afford to go small. As you look at Xavier McDaniel, who left the game early with just 4.5 minutes gone by.
Xavier, of course, hoping that he gets back in before the second half. Pat Riley noticeably taking him out so early after 4.5 minutes of the game.
He did leave with 2 fouls and 2 points. 26-16 Knicks. There's 2 free throws for the Knicks. Final seconds of the first quarter of play. Kendall Gill against Greg Anthony. Del Curry stops and pops. Rebound Oakley, and that will do it. So the Knicks dominating play in the first quarter of play. The score at the end of one, 26-16. Don't forget, coming up next on MSG, it's the Sharp Electronics Knicks Legends game. The Knicks going against NBA stars of yesteryear, and there are the 2 respective coaches. Arnold Red Auerbach and Red Holtzman, William Red Holtzman. Between the 2 of them, John, 1,634 wins, and they're discussing the trade of John Andres, which occurred last night. John was dealt from the ball club, Red Auerbach's club, to Red Holtzman's club, and hopefully he will get some time.
Red Holtzman seems to have a smirk on his face. I hope it's a positive one.
I hope so for your sake. Second quarter underway. Knicks begin with a 10-point lead. Kendall Gill, Del Curry. And now Lynch plays up front. J.R. Reed. Dishes to Lynch. Back to Gill. Yes. First quarter shooting all New York, 52% to 25%.
What a coach hopes now after a good start, like the Knicks have enjoyed here, is that the team doesn't let down.
Vandeweghe is open, and the Knicks are getting numerous wide-open shots. And Pat Riley had a good reason. I asked him about the fact that this club runs a lot. He says random offense means random defense, and that means open transitional shots. That's what the Knicks are getting. 28-18. Johnson over Mason. Well, that time Anthony kept him outside, but it didn't matter. Larry Johnson with 3 boards thus far. Greg Anthony, his collegiate teammate, on the floor as well.
Larry Johnson talking from behind.
Anthony, beautiful move.
Coaches always advise their defensive players to talk out there, communicate. It's so rare that you actually hear that, as we did with Larry Johnson.
Gill, and a foul is called on Anthony, giving away some size there. Back into the game is Gaddison for the Charlotte Hornets. Johnson gets a breather.
Greg Anthony getting a field goal moments ago with a tricky crossover dribble and then the penetration. These are the shots that he's been missing much of the season, but now he's seems to be in a much better frame of hitting those shots.
Xavier McDaniel, we are informed, was told because of the 2 fouls early and nothing more. Knicks 30, Hornets 22. Starks pulls up. Rebound Mason, but he got called for pushing off He knocked Gaddison out of the way and picks up the offensive foul. Now Bode replaces Kendall Gill. Gill with 13 points. He's been in double figures in 53 of 56 games this year. What an improved player he has been. J.R. Reed. Back again on Oakley. Lynch loses it and Vandeweghe is there for the board. And through the hands of Charles Oakley and Muggsy Bogues in transition. Muggsy to Reed, knocked away by Stark. But Stark hammered him. And he's called for the foul.
Calculated move by John Starks, dangerous though, but he seems to be fearless when it comes to physical play. Good momentum now by Charlotte. Starks anticipating that pass, created contact though.
Del Curry, quick shot, rebound Oakley to John Stark. Big step and he lays it in.
What an unusual move, how he kept his poise by the distraction of Bogues is amazing.
Curry missing, rebound Oakley, who has been fierce on the board. Stark, this to Vandeweghe. And the Knicks unselfishly giving up the ball this first half.
What a surprise. The Hornets playing on a well-run offense consisting of moving the ball, and the Knicks are beating him in that game.
And the Knicks continue to push the tempo, leading by 12. Anthony stops. Mason keeps it alive into the hands of Oakley, and two more. And the Hornets need a timeout. The Knicks are just outworking the Charlotte Hornets on both ends. And it translates to a 14-point lead and a big differential on the board. We'll take a short break with 8:43 to go in the second quarter. Don't forget tonight, 30-minute weekend edition, MSG Sports Desk, battle in the Big East, St. John's against Seton Hall, Rangers visit Philadelphia, Mike Quick's high school report. 11 o'clock tonight on MSG. Watch this move by Starks, John.
Amazing that he didn't travel or commit an offensive foul. It's the most unusual move.
14-6 in the fast break point department, which is unusual considering the Hornets love to run it as much as they do. And during their recent stretch, they have been forcing turnovers and capitalizing. With Patrick Ewing replaces Kiki Vandeweghe. Vandeweghe leads with 10 points. He entered the game early at about the 7.5-minute mark, and he made the most of his time. And now John Starks leaves, and Gerald Wilkins comes back in. 36-22, Knicks lead the Hornets. Kendall Gill, meanwhile, with 13 of the 22 points. And as you can see, the shooting percentage of the other players is dreadful. J.R. Reed hitting in the paint. And the Hornets set it to 36-24.
J.R. presented a couple of very nice fakes and then shot the ball perfectly.
Big Anthony against Muggsy Bogues, looking for Ewing. Bogues takes it away. When it's down low, close to the knees, Bogues can do a lot. And of course it's moved by Muggsy, but it won't drop for him. Gaddison with the putback.
Big competitive spirit by Gaddison getting that big ball.
So the Hornets cut the lead to 10. Knicks' biggest lead was 14.
It's going with two power forwards now as Mason and Oakley working together.
Wilkins loses it. Ewing over Gaddison. Nothing but net.
What a breeze to Patrick. 6'8" man guarding. Knicks didn't lose any ground when Xavier got in early foul trouble with Vandeweghe's contributions immediate.
Larry Johnson against Oakley. Johnson pulls up. Rebound Ewing. Anthony Wilkins in the Knicks backcourt. Mason, Oakley, and Ewing up front. Thus far, Pat Riley just using the one real center in Ewing. Taking advantage of the fact that Charlotte's a small team. Ewing. Rebound Gaddison. Here's Del Curry to Larry Johnson, who fills it up. The one body can run the floor. Larry Johnson, NBA Rookie of the Month for February. Wilkins way off the mark. Bogues with a long rebound. Curry fills the lane. And he kicks the basket and a foul on Wilkins.
What a gorgeous pass from Muggsy. He invites his teammates to run. He encourages them to run. You want to get in front of him, you've got to run hard if you're a teammate of his. Del Curry threw that game.
Wilkins didn't like the call, and the Knicks want to talk about it. Vandeweghe, big contributions tonight. 5 for 8 from the field. Knicks lead is 8. 6:20 to go, second quarter.
That's when you drink and know when to say when. A reminder from Budweiser.
And don't forget later tonight, the Sharp Legends game. Dave DeBusschere and Jumpin' Johnny Green getting set for battle.
A couple of Knicks forwards of good years. Johnny Green was with the Knicks his first 6 years, 59 to 65. And he moved on to a couple of other teams in the NBA, known for his leaping ability at 6'5". And, of course, Dave is a bit of a legend around here.
Legend has it that Johnny Green used to pick quarters off the top of backwards.
I'll check him out on that later.
All right. Bruce Beck, John Andres, Mike Green, and Walt Floyd Frazier at Madison Square Garden tonight. Knicks lead the Hornets 38 to 31. 6:14 to go. Second quarter of play. Hornets on a little bit of a run here. Wilkins to McDaniel. 9-2 Charlotte first. Wilkins from way downtown. Mason gets the offensive board. Mason posting up on J.R. Reed. Ewing to the outside. And Mason again keeping it alive. Mason and Reed tangle up. And there's a heavy stare on the part of both players.
Interesting, right? It's all looks, it seems, with Mason. Maybe some quiet responses verbally, but you don't see him swinging arms or pushing. He's just heavy with the glares. He gets the message through.
Reed was called for the foul. Mark Jackson replaces Greg Anthony.
Sure, Reed is not interested in any physical confrontations after his run-in last week with Jason Williams, Philadelphia. Jason off the bench after Charles Barkley acted in rather juvenile fashion with JR, and then Jason came off to defend him and ended up being fined and suspended for 2 games.
A technical foul has been called on Mason, and Kendall Gill will shoot it for the Hornets. And he misses it. Anthony Mason, we did a feature on the other night. We talked about his major league glare.
Yes, he's got a good one. As we see Marvin Webster, the human eraser, walk by us. Bruce, ready to go tonight in the Legends game.
He doesn't walk by us, he lumbers by. Jackson down low to Ewing. And Ewing is fouled. And it's on Gaddison. You would think that Ewing would be unstoppable down low, close to the hoop on the block against this ball club.
Well, he's shown tonight, at least in the first quarter, that that is exactly what he is, and it appears the game has the look that he can continue that. Knicks, however, Bruce, have always had tough games, as we mentioned earlier. In fact, in their last meeting in Charlotte in early December, the Knicks were down 17 points late in the third quarter. They struggled to get by the Hornets, and Ewing, of course, led the way.
And it was that small unit that night, even Kennard Winchester contributing in a big way.
Well, Pat Riley was getting nothing out of his starters for much of the game, and he just threw the towel in and let other people give it a run, and they did. The bench brought the Knicks back.
Ewing with 12 points and 9 rebounds, 9-point Knicks advantage. Gaddison loses momentarily, gets it back to Bogues. J.R. Reed against Mason. Takes the step, blocked by Ewing, but it's goaltending. Ball is just hanging up there like a wounded duck, and Ewing knocked it a little too late.
Boy, it looked like Ewing was there quickly, though. Perhaps the ball was on the way down when it was released.
40 to 33. Jackson against Bogues. Jackson takes it to the basket, and a foul is called. And Mark Jackson excels against other guards who are smaller than him because he's a good post-up player.
I asked coaching staff on the Hornets. We see Alan Briscoe, the head coach at half court, reacting to something he didn't like about Mark Mark Jackson taking Muggsy down low. Muggsy at 5'3". Mark has done that often. He said, I hope the Knicks do it. The more they do it, the better. I'd rather see Mark Jackson shooting than Patrick Ewing.
So the foul on Bogues is first. Bogues knocks it away from Jackson. Gill gets it back to Bogues. And the Hornets are within 5, 40-35. And Johnson said earlier that Knicks will have to try to maintain what they did in the first quarter. Hornets on a 13-4 run. Wilkins to Ewing. He turns. Gorgeous move by Patrick.
So cleanly done. He avoided all the potential obstructions that the Hornets presented.
14 for Ewing. Crisp ball handling by Patrick. Gill to Gaddison. That was good anticipation.
Late pick and roll, and nobody responded to Gaddison being wide open.
Now the Hornets are breaking down the defense in the half-court game much better than they did in the first quarter. And it's a 42-37 ball game. X-Man open.
Well, Mason gave some pick.
And Mason runs down the board. Mason with 5 rebounds. Ewing again over Gaddison. Rebound J.R. Reed. And a foul is called. Again, it's Reed and Mason. And Reed is going to be whistled for the personal.
Mason draws this response, even though Reed has great inside position on him as the shot goes up. Reed looks for Mason, holds him off, and then that little tap at the end.
Just a tap. That's the 3rd foul on Reed. Out of bounds off the Knicks. Hornets ball. And Reed will head to the bench, replaced by Eric Lechner, 4th-year man out of Wyoming, who has not played a lot in this recent stretch where the Hornets have used mostly an 8-man rotation. So J.R. Reed frustrated by Mason. Larry Johnson backing in on the X-Man. Gaddison with 3 seconds in the 20-40 hits. Kenny Gaddison has been shooting 63% during the recent winning streak. Nails one to the outside at 42-39. Bogues knocks it away from Jackson. And the Hornets on a 17-6 spurt. 2:52 to go.
Their last game was Wednesday night in Milwaukee. They have been in New York for a couple of days now, getting ready for this game, focusing on it. And they're not about to roll over easily.
They watched the Knicks-Clippers game here at the Garden the other night. Jackson gets the bucket and a foul is called. Tom Lechner, his first personal.
Mark Jackson continuing on this fine run of breaking down other teams' defense by getting inside the foul line and scoring.
Jackson 5th in the NBA in assists. Bogues 4th. Nothing but net for Jackson. Back to 6. Bogues to Gill. Back to Gaddison. Blocked by Ewing. Picked off by Jackson. Mason to Wilkins. Ewing. Ewing again. So Patrick Ewing continues to dominate the inside. 16 points, 9 rebounds. Timeout Charlotte. So all of a sudden the Knicks have opened up an 8-point lead again. We'll be back. 47-39 lead over Charlotte. Patrick Ewing, a big reason why.
Yes, he's having a party at both ends. That blocked shot ignited things for the Knicks, and he works his way in at the other end, misses his shot, keeps going. Relentless pursuit by Ewing.
Back to the live action. Muggsy Bogues with 2:10 to go in the first half of play. Kendall Gill. Off the mark, Johnson with the rebound. Ball is in Gill's hands a lot. He backs in on Wilkins and fires it up. Rebound McDaniel. Here's Wilkins. Good pass to Mason. No doubt about that one.
Oh, Gerald read that right.
Knicks back up by 10. Gill is just firing at will. McDaniel.
It took him too long to recognize the wide-open Wilkins.
Del Curry back in for Charlotte, replacing Eric Lechner. And Curry has been used almost exclusively as a small forward with this club.
Yes, in years gone by, he's played the guard position. But as you say, Bruce, it's a different story now, and he's been functioning quite well at the forward position.
And remember, Johnny Newman has a broken right hand. He's on the injured list. He is out 4 to 6 weeks. So Curry will play a lot up front as Gaddison puts it home.
What a nice adjustment by Curry, who had the shot lined up, saw the defense close on him, and quickly shifted into another gear to Gaddison.
Tommy Hammonds is also on the injured list with a strained groin. He was acquired in that deal for Rex Chapman. Chapman's yet to play for Washington.
And Hammonds has yet to play for Charlotte.
Big trade that one was. McDaniel missing a couple out of bounds off the X. Charlotte ball with 44.6 seconds to go in the first half. And the Knicks leading 49 to 41. Pat Riley's club had a nice lead at the end of the first quarter of play. Second quarter's been up and down. Yet on the boards, it's still a dominant first half. Jackson has it. All the Knicks to the front court. 5-on-1. Mason missing with a foul and ball. You want to talk about a ball club getting up court quickly? 5 players in the front court, John, in seconds. That was good hustle.
Knicks have had a busy week, and yet they're showing livelier legs and energy than Charlotte.
Now watch this. Here they come. Here comes the cavalry charge. And freeze it right there.
What a great shot.
They're all up there.
Most unusual to see a shot like that. 4 players starting together.
The rule of thumb is always, if a guy bigger than you beats you down, he gets it, right?
Sounds all right, Bruce, as long as it works.
You got to keep the big guys happy.
But certain big guys are better at finishing fast breaks than others.
Bogues leaves, replaced by Lynch. Mason at the free throw line.
One place, Bruce, where discriminating is allowed. The guard or the passer is better off selecting the right man who can finish the play.
Mason hitting both free throws. 16 on the shot clock. Game clock winding down in the first half of play. Johnson, wide open Gill. He is way off. Air ball, Gaddison all along the putback. 8 seconds left in the half. Ewing with a long pass to Wilkins. And he goes down the lane with a floater that is good. 5 seconds to go. Knicks by 10. Curry off the mark. Lynch puts it up at the buzzer, and that will do it. So the Knicks will take a 10-point lead into the locker room at halftime. And coming up at the half, Bullet Bob Page at the MSG Sports Desk, Mike Breen and Walt Clyde Frazier with highlights. 53 to 43 at intermission.
Give me the news.
43. Knicks trying to make it 3 in a row. Looked good early on. Came out smoking. Led by 10 after one quarter. Hornets came back a little bit in the second. But the Knicks again extended that lead to 10. We'll have highlights coming up. But first, let's send it to the MSG Sports Desk with Bob Page.
On the boards.
So it's 53-43 as we begin play in the third quarter. Xavier McDaniel to Charles Oakley. And the rebound to Larry Johnson. Muggsy Bogues quickly to the front court. Johnson and Oakley. Johnson backs in, and he hits the fall-away jumper.
Charles figured he had him beat because he stopped the drive. But Larry Johnson has so much in his offensive repertoire, he then goes to the jump shot.
The Knicks 23-7 at the Garden. They've won 4 in a row at home. Overall, the Knicks 7-7 since the All-Star break. Knocked out of bounds. New York will keep possession. Charlotte Hornets, they've won 5 in a row. 10 of 13 overall. Still struggle a little bit on the road with only 6 wins away from home, where they've won 8 straight. Jackson with a pretty running move.
He uses that backboard so beautifully. Even though he wasn't in that close, he still made it look easy.
10-point lead, 55-45 New York. Larry Johnson, fall away. And Ewing with the rebound. If Johnson's their biggest player on the floor, and he's taking fall-away jumpers from 22, nobody's going to get an offensive rebound. McDaniel answers on the other end of the floor.
X-Man, because of the foul trouble, only played 10 minutes in the first half, yet he's still got 4 rebounds.
Bogues gets it back, and he hits it. So Muggsy Bogues, 4th in the NBA in assists, 9th in steals. He's got a remarkable assist-to-turnover ratio we'll talk about a little bit later. Ewing, give and go to Wilkins. McDaniel gets it back, knocked away by Gaddison, but Gaddison is ticketed with his 3rd foul. So Xavier McDaniel will shoot 2 free throws. They changed the foul to Frederick now.
Xavier very lively on the boards.
McDaniel averaging 14.4 points per game. His career average is at 20. At 16 the other night against the Clippers.
This game has taken on a look of dominance by the Knicks, although the Hornets will compete obviously till the end. But the prior games, it has been even and more difficult than tonight's game seems to be going in favor of the Knicks.
Anthony Frederick. Gaddison throws it away. This will be a backcourt violation. And the Knicks will take over.
What should be happening is happening in that the Knicks are shooting the ball well, and they're out-rebounding this man's team so clearly.
Alan Bristow, first year's head coach. Past 2 years, he was the Hornets vice president of basketball. Now he's on the sideline. Ewing to Wilkins. And Wilkins slams it home, and Ewing has been just terrific in his passing in this game.
And how poorly the Hornets are picking up the cutter. Time and again, the cutter is getting the ball back from one of the Knicks teammates.
Gill, blocked by Ewing. Picked up by Jackson. McDaniel to Wilkins. He dishes to Oakley, and a foul is called. And the unselfishness continues on the part of the Knicks.
Shot attempt blocked by Ewing. Mark Jackson gives it up quickly. Xavier shares the ball, and Gerald Wilkins shares the ball, seemingly to set up Charles Oakley. Frederick got in the way. But one thing Charles can't do, he doesn't have the jumping ability to go straight up to the rim. He just can't seem to extend up near the rim.
You know, some guys have the ability to jump off it rather than high, which is a good attribute. Quick jumping, they call it.
Yes, and Charles does not have those skills. His rebounding skills comes from positioning and desire. And those big arms don't hurt either.
Those sound like attributes that Mr. Dave DeBuscher had. Positioning,
and
smarts.
The attitude of I want every rebound. Everyone belongs to me.
You must have the ability to tug another player's shorts.
Much like yourself as a guard.
That's right. Yeah, Bogues on the baseline, hits the jumper. Knicks will run. Gerald Wilkins likes this up-tempo game. Knocked out of bounds by Gill. Knicks will keep it up 14.
Well, if Gerald doesn't play in an up-tempo game, or he's not part of it, it becomes very difficult for him to be that effective.
Jackson to McDaniel. Over Johnson. So Xavier McDaniel coming to life here in the 3rd quarter of play. Knicks lead by 16. Gaddison missing. Ewing rebound. And again, the Knicks in transition.
They're quietly blowing this game open.
Foul called on Bogues. Mokey doesn't like it. Bristow doesn't like it. And there could be a team. There is. A
Driscoll just went crazy.
Referee Bernie Fryer.
He might get thrown unless he's quiet.
And a technical call on Bill Hanslick, the assistant coach.
Now the assistant should calm down the head coach.
That's right. Shouldn't join the party. So Hanslick gets one. Driscoll gets one.
I guarantee you will not hear anything from P.R. Dunn. Kind of like the Dick McGuire of the Charlotte Hornets. Just plays hard, but you can't hear much of his voice.
Jackson missing the technical foul. Gill missed the technical in the first half. Nobody's put down a free shot yet. Jackson hits the second. Here's Phil Hanslick. This is his first year as an assistant coach after many years in the NBA with Denver. P.R. Dunn also played with Denver.
Distinguished career as a defender. P.R. Dunn was one of the best defenders during his years.
Oakley with a slam. Oakley, the recipient of some clever passing.
Look at Ewing and Oakley.
They're having some fun.
They're partying out
are
there.
Enjoying it. They have opened up an 18-point lead. We'll be back. New York Knicks 68, Charlotte Hornets 49. Knicks on an 11-2 run and shooting 5 for 8 in the third quarter. Hornets just 1 for 7. Kendall Gill ends that with a jumper from the baseline. Gill with 15 points. Bruce Beck, John Andres with Mike Breen and Walt Frazier at Madison Square Garden. Don't forget later tonight the Sharp Electronic Legends Game, a 3rd annual edition. Kendall Gill back to Gaddison. Johnson dishes to Gill. His three-point attempt is off, and Ewing has the board. Patrick with his 41st double-double tonight. Gill has the rebound. Hornets were down big in the first half and rallied back and see if they can do it again. Johnson from Bogue.
Boy, they're not shooting the ball very well.
This is a club that's been averaging 118 per game during their current streak. 10 wins and 3 losses, but when they're cold, they don't look too good.
It seems the presence of Ewing is totally discouraging Charlotte from penetrating. They're contented to take jump shots throughout much of the game.
Larry Johnson. Heck of a move, but missed it. McDaniel to Jackson. Here's Wilkins soaring to the dunk.
He is so exciting at the end of the break.
Wilkins with 6 points, having a good third quarter. And this is the type of team he excels against, a wide-open style of play. Reed outside the Bogue. So J.R. Reed, Gaddison, and this man Larry Johnson up front for the Hornets. McDaniel with the rebound. Knicks getting the dominant defensive board. Wilkins pass intercepted by Bogue.
I don't know that I've ever seen Joe go behind the back. It might be a while before he tries it again, Bruce.
Muggsy missing. Jackson with it. He pushes it. Feeds to Oakley. Oakley's pass to McDaniel, and both sides a little bit ragged right now. Del Curry back in for Charlotte, replacing Gaddison.
The fast break situation when Charles is in position for the layup, he seems to allow himself to be so distracted by the defense. He concentrates more on the defender. Oh, Muggsy Bogues caught sleeping. Mark Jackson on that nice lead pass hitting.
So Mark Jackson now with 12 points. Here's the third quarter shooting. As you can see, the Hornets are struggling. It's a 21-point lead for the Knicks, their biggest of the night. And a turnover by Charlotte. In this recent stretch, the Hornets were forcing 21 turnovers and committing just 13. But tonight, the Knicks have kept pretty good care of the ball. Wilkins wide open. And J.R. Reed has the board. Bogue back to Reed. And he is fouled by Mark Jackson. Good decision-making by Muggsy Bogues. Kevin Lynch, rookie from Minnesota, back in. Muggsy Bogues gets a breather.
Kind of interesting, Bruce, as Peter Finney captured in the news today. Pat Riley's looking at the next 17 days, including tonight, as being very pivotal for the remainder of the season. He's putting pressure on his team, saying, this is where we've got to do it. We've got to win 8 out of 9, or whatever, as Pat Riley said. With our schedule, we should take advantage of it. Only one team of the remaining opponents during that 17-game period is over 500. That's the Lakers, who come in here Tuesday.
McDaniel with the fall away. Rebound Oakley, lost out of bounds. Knicks will keep possession. No doubt, John, that the schedule for March very favorable. Knicks knew that when they went after that recent West Coast swing, in which they did not do well. But it didn't really matter if you come back to win the games you're supposed to in March.
Well, it seems the Knicks got Riley's message. They're playing continuously focused, it appears, in this game, and not falling into that low pattern.
Here's the latest rebound totals, as most of the precincts have reported. 51-22. Out of bounds off of J.R. Reed. Turnover against Charlotte. John, the Knicks have 37 wins. They are 9 wins ahead of last year's pace. And Pat Riley, who has never had a season in which his ball club hasn't won 50, may be on target to do it again this year.
Pat's also going with his starters heavily in the third quarter, and just as I say that, Anthony Mason gets ready to check in.
So at the 4:47 mark, a substitution as Mason replaces Oakley. Oakley with a solid night, 10 points and 8 rebounds, and still a lot of time to go. Anthony Mason hands to Gerald Wilkins. Now Gill is matched up with Jackson. Jackson was eating Bogues up. I think that's one of the reasons that Bristol may have pulled him. Jackson knocked out of bounds by Curry. Hornets going with Curry and Gill, Lynch, Johnson, and J.R. Reed. This is a very young Charlotte club.
A young coaching staff that's breathing fire right now.
And the Knicks will call for time. 15-5 run by the Knicks. They lead by 20.
S&B member.
When you're having good times with friends, use good sense and drink responsibly, because friends know when to say when. A reminder from Budweiser.
Back to the action. McDaniel missing. Rebound, Kendall Gill. Charlotte Hornets down by 20 points with 4:15 to go in the third quarter. Knicks have opened it up, led by 10 at the half. Del Curry's shot. Rebound, McDaniel. Knicks have had Charlotte's number. They've won 6 straight, 2 in a row this year.
Pat Riley has to love the way the Knicks are sharing the ball tonight, looking for each other.
Unselfishness breeds happiness. Ewing off the mark, Reed rebound.
There's a tendency, however, to stand around a bit after the ball goes to Ewing, as the Knicks just did.
Curry off the mark, rebound to Reed. Good pass to Kendall Gill, who is fouled by Mason. Shooting woes continue for the Hornets. And I'll tell you, they don't look real comfortable in a half-court game.
Yes, running is their game, and when they're forced into that half-court game, which is a reflection of the Knicks getting back quickly on defense, they're a different team. They don't have an inside game, so it's a jump shooting show for the Hornets when they're in the half-court game.
McDaniel replaced by Vandeweghe. McDaniel with 6 points and 4 rebounds in the third quarter. Kendall Gill connecting at the free throw line, 72-54. The Knicks have the advantage. The Knicks' next game will be on Monday at Philadelphia, and then Tuesday back at the Garden to take on the LA Lakers. And then a couple of days off, actually 3 days off before New Jersey comes in on Saturday, March 14th. And don't think that one won't be a revenge game. 3 minutes to go, third quarter. Vandeweghe in the drive. Dishes to Mason. And he stepped out of bounds.
I'm amazed at how quiet Larry Johnson has been. Larry leaving the floor right now in favor of Mike Kaminsky. We have a producer who loves the band Little Feat. By golly, he worked that in.
The electronic wizard Howie Singer a little wild there with that graphic.
He and Mike Kaminsky have something in common.
Pete, don't fail me now, John. Tremendous out. Here's Anthony Mason. For Kaminsky, this is his first game back. He missed 37 with a herniated disc. He was on the bench in the Milwaukee game during the week, but this is his first action. He played only 17 games this year.
I asked Mike before the game if he thought he'd play tonight, and the answer was no. This is a bit of a surprise.
Ewing against Kaminsky. Open Jackson. Ewing continues his stellar passing. And Mark Jackson buried the 18-footer.
Knicks are very much in the groove, as they have been throughout much of this game.
Gill blocked by Ewing. Out of bounds, it will be Charlotte ball. Ewing has done so many different things well in this game. He run the floor well. He smashed well. He blocked well.
That's what discourages an inside offense for the Hornets. Ewing is all over every penetrating situation.
Muggsy Bogues back in for Charlotte. Greg Anthony on the floor for New York. So it's Anthony and Starks for the Knicks in the backcourt. And up front, Vandeweghe, Mason, and Ewing. And Mason has the ball.
It'll take Mike Long to get a shot up.
John Starks penetrates, goes all the way. Kaminsky has the rebound. Tyrone Muggsy Bogues, 5'3", smallest player in the NBA. Lead to Kaminsky, and he is fouled by Kiki Vandeweghe.
Different picture now with the 6'11" Kaminsky in there. The penetration by the guards gives them another option. If they don't have the shot, they can give the ball up to Mike, and he can draw fouls or make shots inside. They're only legitimate scoring big person on his team.
He is the veteran at 32 years of age. Nobody's even close in terms of years on this club. 12th year for Mike Kaminsky. Knows he's not going to get a lot of minutes now that Gaddison has developed in the middle, but Gaddison is still only 6'8", John. There's no doubt this club needs a center in the next couple of years if they're going to get to the next level. So Kaminsky, usually an outstanding free throw shooter, but missed them both.
Well, they felt Mike Kaminsky could hold the fort for a while. That's why they drafted the #1 man, Larry Johnson. They had the #1 pick of the draft.
Ewing hits on the baseline.
And they still defend that selection of Larry Johnson. That's their public position, however, but it would be interesting if they had to make the choice over again. It would seem to be Mutombo.
Del Curry gets the offensive board. Good look to Kaminsky, who lays it in. I don't know. I think that the right choice was made. I think they picked the guy that was there. He was big enough up front, and he can play 3 or 4.
Meaning Larry Johnson.
Yeah. Denver got the player they wanted at #4. They would have picked him first if they had the first pick, but I think Denver's situation was different. There were a lot of question marks about this year's draft because you had the situation with Kenny Anderson and Billy Owens. Do you pick a guy 6'10" or do you pick a guy 6'1"? Owens doing very well now with Golden State. Anderson's had a struggling first year with the Nets.
I thought Kenny Anderson would be on the All-Star team the first year out.
Just didn't work out for him. Situation wasn't great. Didn't get a lot of minutes early. Didn't have confidence. Curry shot. Rebounded by Mason. Knicks with the 76-56 lead. Closing seconds of the third quarter. Knicks led by 10 at the end of 1. 10 at the half. Shot clock is down to 8. Anthony to Vandeweghe for 3. Got it! 23-point lead. 5 seconds to go. Bogues out to Curry. Great defense by Starks. The basket will not count. Starks was all over Del Curry. So a big third quarter for New York. A 23-point lead.
Opening for Joe Wilkins. Bobbles the ball. Starks gets the fake. And he hits it.
Oh, the relentless truth of Dutch boy in the paint. The Knicks dominating inside, down low. First half 28-10. Second half or third quarter so far, the Hornets did not score in close. Nice pass off by Gerald Wilkins to Charles Oakley with the left hand. Charles seems more effective delivering that ball in close with the left hand.
So the Knicks blowing out the Hornets in the third quarter, 26-13. And the rebound margin of the game is 59-26. Bruce Beck and John Andre as we begin play. The fourth quarter of play, Knicks 79, Hornets 56. This is the St. Charlotte club which blew out Philadelphia earlier, 136-84. That was just about a week and a half ago. 136-84, John. 2-point difference. How do you explain it?
Bad behavior by Charles Barkley. Poor shooting by the Sixers. But that, I think, when you look at a score like that, you have to figure Philadelphia quick.
Right.
The talent just does not explain that at all. Philadelphia has substantial talent.
Kaminsky to Bose. Bose with the pump fake. Ewing has the rebound. Ewing getting close to his season high in rebounds. He has 19. Lynch to Kaminsky. Blocked by Ewing, but it's goaltending. Ewing is contested every play. He is having a big-time game. And granted, there's no one really who can stop him, but he has been passing well. He's been so active. And his unselfishness has been contagious. Anthony dishes to Starks. Ewing keeps it alive. And those are the little things that never really make it in the box score that mean something. Ewing with the jump hook over Kaminsky. And Patrick exudes confidence right now with the Knicks up 25.
Can't believe when I see Ewing take an infrequent hook shot like that, why he doesn't do it more often. That was a rolling hook shot, beautifully done.
Curry blocked by Ewing again. Well, Ernie DiGregorio wants to get in, John.
Better before he came in with an entourage, too.
He'll be playing in the Legends game later, but I think he's looking for duty.
Every player, we'll take another look at Ewing closing out that attempt by Curry. Every player wants to get a good warm-up, and in these Legends games, there isn't much time to warm up. It's like, all right, guys, get out there and perform. And the older the legs get, the more difficult it is to be in stride.
Patrick Ewing gets a much-deserved rest. He is on the bench with a double-double-double, 20 and 20. Rebounds and points. Oakley fall away. Perfect. Oakley with 12 points and 8 rebounds. And the Knicks are having fun. A 27-point lead will do that. It's been a long time since this ball club had a laugher like this. J.R. Reed against Anthony Mason. Lynch blocked by Oakley. The Knicks have played superb team defense against the ball club, which has been averaging 118 lately.
Lynch sneaking in there, getting what he thought would be an easy shot in close, but he was sent home by Charles.
And a 24-second violation against the Hornets, and it's been a nightmare of a game for Coach Alan Bristow. Knicks with a season-high 63 rebounds as a team. They had 60 against Washington on January the 4th. Anthony to Oakley. Pass to Mason, knocked away. Here's Lynch. Bogues picks it up. Bogues And he threw it away. And that was a rare turnover by Muggsy. 4-on-1 the other way. The Knicks continue to fill the lane. And Mason with a demonstrative slam. The biggest lead of the night, 29 points. As the Knicks continue to execute on both ends. John, is it the red or the blue show this year?
I think it's a red.
Charles Oakley has another rebound for the Knicks, who have 64 rebounds. Anthony. Rebound, Larry Johnson. And the shooting problems continue for Charlotte. Lynch missing. Frederick dishes to Larry Johnson. Oh, nice move, Larry.
Oh, move of the night, Larry Johnson reverse slam.
What do you give him, a 9-7?
Absolutely. Creativity all the way. In the middle of the game to do that.
Starks takes it to the bucket basket, counts, and a foul. Starks with the left hand.
What a response. Johnson going in low. Knows what you do in those positions. I'll have to remember that for later, Bruce.
Yeah.
And John Starks with a beautiful left-hand hook off the backboard.
Kennard Winchester replaces Kiki Vandeweghe for the Knicks. So Winchester with a rare appearance. Vandeweghe leaves. Kiki with 13 points. Winchester played very well in the game on December 2nd against Charlotte. He had 4 points, 3 rebounds in 6 minutes, and he was part of that small unit which got the Knicks back in the game.
And those were his season highs, points and rebounds wise.
And now James Donaldson gets set to report in. Gill, oh, just missed the slam on the feed from Bogue. Gill gets it back, and he puts it in. So Kendall Gill, who can do so many things, 19 points for Kendall Gill.
Just your basic point guard going up for a slam dunk about 8 miles above the rim.
See, he played on an Illinois team in college where everybody did everything. He was the point guard, but he rebounded. Everyone was the same height. Marcus Liberty, Nick Anderson, Stephen Bardo, Kenny Battle. So everybody did everything, and I think that equipped him for the pros. Frederick missing. Rebound to Gill. And Kendall Gill has another 20-point night. 21 for Gill, who had a stretch of 14 straight 20-point games in the middle of the year.
Kendall Gill is one of those few players destined to be on the NBA All-Star team one of these days.
92-64 with 6:40 to play. Knicks looking to make it 3 wins in a row.
Muggsy Bogues interrupts that drive.
Larry Johnson gets away with an extra step and lays it in. Pat Riley said before the game, Knicks getting back to where they want to be following that disastrous loss to New Jersey. Oakley. Charles is smoking from long range.
What a difference when he looks for the rim. He's gone through a personality change lately, looking for the rim.
Gill is hacked by Oakley. And right now let's go to Bob Page at the MSG Sports Desk.
Bruce at Chicago tonight started the second half off a DePaul miss. Notre Dame's Damon Sweet rebounds to Elmer Bennett, ahead to LaFonso Ellis, who jams to give the Irish a 7-point lead at the time. ND trying to keep its NCAA hopes alive.
Thank you very much, Bob. So Notre Dame on the bubble, but I'll tell you, if they win one more game, they should get in with the monstrous schedule they have played.
They have every sports writer, sportscaster saying that now for the last 3 weeks, you know.
John, it's true.
They really get support. No, they have had a tremendous season. They have to feel good. Anybody who knows John McLeod has to be very happy for him.
And he's very happy to be back in Indiana, where he grew up, where he went to high school basketball. And I believe he's very much at home there. Knicks will keep possession, up 94-68. A check of the leaderboard. Ewing with 20 points and 20 rebounds. Oakley with 14, Jackson with 14, Vandeweghe with 13. Winchester is fouled by Gill. Listen to these rebound numbers. Ewing 20 boards, Oakley 9 boards, McDaniel 8 rebounds, 12 for Anthony Mason, 6 for Mark Jackson, 5 for Gerald Wilson. Kennard Winchester at the free throw line.
Rare playing time for Kennard, who, as you mentioned earlier, had his brightest moments as a Knick in Charlotte. Played a key role in that comeback win for the Knicks.
Muggsy Bogues penetrates, dishes to Lynch, and Lynch hits the jumper. So Kevin Lynch on the scoreboard, his first basket of the game. He's averaging 4.5. Anthony to Mason. Winchester, good look to Donaldson. Donaldson misses the chippy. Bogues' pass deflected, gets it back. Lynch loses it. And now Anthony dishes to Starks. Winchester. Game's a little bit wild right now, but a 25-point lead will do that to you. And the loose ball foul is charged to John Starks. John, you've got to be impressed with the way the Knicks bounce back from bad losses. It's one thing that they've been able to do all season long. It probably says a lot about the way Pat Riley equips his club to come back from losses. They were blown out by the Nets 90-75 on March 1st, and with this game sure to be a win, this would be their third straight victory. Bogues open and hits the jumper, but go back to some of the other crushing losses this year. And it's been the same scenario. They lost to Houston on November 19th, scoring only 79 points, and they came back to beat Dallas at Dallas the next night. We'll be back.
When it comes to buying Michelin tires, all you need to know are 3 letters, WTC. W for the wide selection of quality Michelin tires.
A remarkable advance in automotive.
Well, this call to the bench is brought to you by New York Telephone, to remind you the New York Telephone regional calling area is bigger than you think. Pretty clear. Another statistical category that the Knicks own tonight is bench performance. 2-1.
So with 4:25 to play, the Knicks comfortably skating with a 95-72 lead. New York going with Starks and Anthony and Donaldson, Kennard Winchester and Anthony Mason. And Charlotte countering with Kendall Gill, Muggsy Bogues, Anthony Frederick, Larry Johnson, and Kevin Lynch. And Lynch comes up with the loose ball. Kendall Gill continues to add to his point total. He now has 25. So Charlotte's 5-game win streak will go by the boards. Their last loss was at Boston on February 21st. Bogues pulls up and hits. 95-76. Hornets within 19, but only 3:50 to play.
The big shocker, Bruce, is Larry Johnson tonight. He was not tearing it up out here for Charlotte. He's one of the guys, it seems.
12 points, 6 for 16 for Larry Johnson. He turned away a lot of shots that he could have taken. He backed it out. He didn't play with that ferocity that you would have expected.
Well, the presence of Patrick Ewing, I'm sure, had something to do with it.
Ewing was the man that just controlled this game. He set the tone defensively. He was very active on the offensive end, and I think his unselfishness wore off on all the other Knicks.
The last 2 games for the Hornets, Larry Johnson had 25 points against Milwaukee, 9 rebounds, and prior to that last Saturday against Indiana, 27 points, 7 rebounds. Also the game-winning shot with less than a second left last Saturday against Indiana in that 2-point win.
Anthony Mason's had a solid game, 7 points and 14 rebounds. And There is the Charlotte bench. Two of their stars of the future, Gill and Johnson. Gill with 25 points and 7 rebounds to lead the Hornets. John, I want to get to that back to that point on the Knicks rebounding. Remember, they lost the first 2 games of the year, and they came to the Garden. They crushed Milwaukee. There was a loss in Boston when they squandered that huge lead. They bounced back at Atlanta, won in double OT. Out of bounds, still Charlotte ball. After being crushed by San Antonio at the Garden, they came back and held off Indiana in overtime. And after losing at Philadelphia on January 22nd by 10 and playing poorly, they surprised everyone by winning their next 3 on the coast. So it's been a pattern this year. Knicks now going with the Twin Towers up front in McCormick and Donaldson. Tim McCormick getting some time. And Kennard Winchester hitting the jumper.
He's got to feel good after missing a few as he starts to get the game feel.
Winchester signed as a free agent on November 14th. Houston had waived him. And it's good to see a guy that practices hard get a chance. Eric Lechner checking in for the Hornets, replacing Frederick.
Certainly hope Coach Holzman thinks that way in the second game.
Well, John, let's start focusing on that second game, the Sharp Legends game. You were acquired late last night in that major moves from the NBA stars to the Knicks team, and I know you had been brown-nosing Red Auerbach for much of the week. Now you've got to work on Red Holzman. You think you'll get some time?
I'm building my dislike once again for Red Auerbach. That will be difficult to sustain, I'm sure. Most people in this building feel that way.
Did you practice earlier today?
I was out here today for about an hour shooting late this morning. Kiki Vandeweghe also out here.
Quite a change of attire for you, Josh. With a coat and tie early, you'll end up with an athletic supporter at the end of the night. Nice move by Anthony.
Well, hopefully I won't be faked out.
Del Curry comes up with it with 2 minutes to go. Kennard Winchester gets the rebound. This one is academic now. Knicks 103, Charlotte 78. And Starks is open for the shot.
Starks has enjoyed such a fine season against the Charlotte Hornets, averaging 20 a game coming into this one.
Final seconds of play, a minute 40 to go. Knicks in a romp, 105-78. They open things up with a 26-13 run in that third quarter, and that was pretty much it. Kennard Winchester with the rebound. Patrick Ewing with 20 boards tonight. That's his 11th 20-plus rebound game of his career. And just one shy of the 21 he had earlier this year at Golden State. A lot of players, though, John, contributed as Stark hits the jumper. Knicks have to feel good about this one.
Yes, they've been solid throughout and have really done what their coach preaches. They've focused for the entire game.
J.R. Reed twisted outside to Elliott Perry. Perry out of Memphis State in his first year. Lynch misses the jam, and McCormick has the rebound. Knicks have to play well because Boston on a 3-game winning streak. Bird back in action, and he looked good last night. And an offensive foul called on McCormick underneath. The Avion Natural Spring Water player of the game is Patrick Ewing. 20 points, 20 rebounds, 6 blocks, numerous passes. He ran the floor well. It was Ewing all the way tonight.
Never seen Patrick Ewing react so much to an announcement right on cue, Bruce. He was giving you the thumbs up as you were saying that.
Kennard Winchester with it with 12 seconds left. Charlotte's worst loss this year was by 24 at Detroit in November. And this one will certainly become number 1. Coming up next, it will be the Sharp Knicks Legends game. Knicks Legends going against the NBA Legends. A lot of stars set to compete. Saw Cassie Russell earlier tonight. Dave DeBuscher NBA legends Nate Archibald and Ernie DiGregorio. And that is it. So the Knicks improve to 38-23. They win their third straight and their fifth in a row at the Garden. This one was a blowout over the Charlotte Hornets, 107-78. Charlotte Hornets came in with a 5-game win streak. They'd won 10 of their last 13, but never really got it going. There's a look at your final score at the Garden.
Let's say your life is up in the air.
7-78 here at Madison Square Garden, extending their winning streak now to 3 games. Big night for Patrick Ewing. Actually had a chance to relax in the fourth quarter as the team blew him away. Knicks and Ewing doing the job. Ewing with 20 points and 20 rebounds. Again, the Knicks win in a laughter. No problems tonight against the Charlotte Hornets. This is what the Knicks planned to do. They had 3 games this week at the Garden. They needed 3 wins coming off that disastrous game against the New Jersey Nets. And that's what they got. They beat the Mavs, beat the Clippers, and just blew away a Hornets team that had come in with a 5-game winning streak. And the key to this one, domination, absolute domination on the boards. Knicks out-rebounding the Hornets 75-35. That's 75 rebounds, a season high for the Knickerbockers. And again, the Knicks with a total team effort. In terms of our leading scores, the leading score summary brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. Advantage, Jeep and Eagle. Ewing with the 20 points again, sitting much of the fourth quarter. John Stark shot well, 7 of 10 from the floor. He had 15. Mark Jackson with 14. Charles Oakley, many of his points early on, set the tone. And Kiki Vandeweghe had a fine first half. He finished with 13. As for the Charlotte Hornets, Kendall Gill, the second-year guard out of Illinois, continues to impress, but didn't have much help tonight. Only 25 points for Gill, but Kenny Gaddison with 12 and only had none in the second half. As for our dunk of the game, it's brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers, with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. Several to choose from because this game had a lot of open baskets for both teams.